Okay guys, I am actually recording this after the fact here because I ran into some technical issues and I lost the audio to the first part of this video. So I'm just recording some post commentary here just so that there is some running commentary going on in the first part of the video here. So as you'll see, we start on the squad selection screen. I've already pretty much got the squad taken care of, although I do make a small change here, switching Traver in because Aaron was already maxed out on psionics, and I've been taking Aaron on every mission, so I decided to bring somebody else. Other than that, this is pretty much the squad that I go with. And in a minute here, we go ahead and launch the mission. Any minute now, come on, past me. There we go. Okay. So this is another battleship mission. We shot down another battleship, and we're going to go and hit it. You'll notice... okay, well you won't notice because this was in a previous screen, but the Hyperwave Relay cued me in that there are ethereals and sectopods on this mission, so that's fun. This one wasn't quite as empty as the other battleship mission was just because I didn't bother checking everywhere. I pretty much just followed the sounds and ignored everything else. So this one didn't take quite as long as that other mission did, although I do think it still ended up being about an hour, and unless I'm mistaken, the other one was about that long. Or maybe the other one was closer to an hour and a half. Either way, this one's about an hour long, and we get action right from the start here, unlike before. We get to deal with some elite or heavy floaters. We handle them pretty easily. Things did get really nasty in this mission, as anybody who saw me post on Facebook might have been able to tell. I got pretty mad at the game. That actually happened in the second half. All bad shit happens in the second video, so there's not a whole lot going on here unless you like seeing me, you know, handle the aliens pretty easily. Which is what happens in the first part here. I'll just go ahead and spoil it for you, I guess. But, yeah, that's pretty much what goes on. We just kind of deal with these guys here. Like you see me right now, I'm trying to get a decent position to flank these guys. Unfortunately, because they're heavy floaters and the one in particular that I'm dealing with is up in the air, I can't really deal with him very well, so I decide to make a run and gun attempt and deal with this guy. But I don't have it flanked. All the same, I take the shot and I miss. Good job on that, Heather. And now you're flanked, so that's even better. So we'll just keep it rolling here, I guess, you know. Why not? And this is me trying out my new power, which is Electropulse with the other mech suit. Saves my butt later in the mission, but it also really screws things up to a degree. But again, you'll see that later. I need to stop referring to things later in the video. It's just I just got done recording, so they're very fresh in my mind, and I'm very very irritated, to be completely honest. The game basically screwed me, so I'm trying to get over it. I really am trying to focus on the commentary, just, you know, give you the events as they happened as best I can, even though this is commentary after the fact again. But yeah, just last thing I will try to make this the last thing I say about it. I got really screwed by this game at the end of the mission, so I'm very displeased with it at the moment, and I will say no more, hopefully. I'll try and keep that promise. One of the big problems I had early on in the mission here was I kept putting Fran indoors, and that turned out to be a problem because it meant nobody could move past her. So I kind of split the group in half here, and Heather didn't really have much she could do. She connects this time, so she cleans up her mess a little bit there, which I appreciated. And now we really just have this one heavy floater with one hit point left to deal with, so you gotta figure we're gonna get that hit eventually, right? I think it ends up taking longer than I remember. But we'll see. So let's see here. How do I decide to handle this? I try to do collateral damage, and I think that might end up being how I kill him. But yeah, the problem is that he's too high, so I can't. What I do end up using is I do flashbang this guy, which was kind of a waste in hindsight. And I can think of some situations where I could have used that flashbang later, but that's always kind of how it works, isn't it? You use it, and then later on you run into something and you're like, damn, I wish I had that flashbang right now. But no such luck. What can you do, huh? Alright, so we're kind of just... we're really kind of dicking around here with this stupid heavy floater. Not really taking any shots at it. One of my main goals in this mission was to try and give as much of the experience to the rooks as I could. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that again. Just, well, I know I said I wouldn't mention it again, but the reason that I might not be worrying about the rooks experience anymore is because this keeps happening. I keep ending up in situations that I wouldn't be in if I just, you know, went ahead and had one of the colonels kill it. So I think I'm just going to have whoever can kill it, and not worry about who gets the kills from now on. I think that's going to make things a lot simpler, make things a lot smoother, and considering that I am basically at endgame, there we go, good shot, Bancroft, I think? I actually can't see it very well because the editing software I use doesn't give me a very big picture. So I think that was Bancroft, because I was trying to give as many of the kills as I could to Bancroft, Grayson, Heather, and Fran, because they're the three who need experience in this group. So early on, they get most of the kills. I do away with that later once things get kind of hairy, but early on, it's not bad. It's pretty easy. I get this meld canister without much trouble, as you can see. The other meld canister is not quite so easy, but we'll get to that, of course. So yeah, just pop the meld right there. Got that done. My mimetic skin buddy, Sterling, can see the nastiness down there, a berserker and 2 mutons. So right now I'm kind of planning out, okay, how can I bum rush up on these guys? And what I want to do here is use the flamethrower on Fran, or the electropulse, one of the two. But it doesn't really work out quite as well as I would like it to. I do think I still end up using one of those two abilities here, but because as soon as I see them they run, then it's somewhat harder to execute that. Plus, anyway, at the end of my turn here, obviously they move on their own, so they kind of move out of the ideal position to hit them. Yeah, see, there they go. I think they're just kind of patrolling. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're moving on their own, so that's kind of strange. I apologize if you hear a clicking noise. I'm going to go ahead and set that down right now. I have a bit of a nervous tick that you might notice in some of my videos. If I'm not occupying my hands with the keyboard or the mouse or what have you, or a controller, as would be the case with Shovel Knight, if I'm not engaged with the game, if I'm watching something rather than interacting with the game, oftentimes I will pick up a remote or a container of Scotch tape or a pen or a mechanical pencil or something like that. Something I can click. Because that is my nervous tick, is I click things. Like you'll notice right now. I have the remote to my dish TV in my hand, and that's what I do. That is why, if you ever see me in person in a place that I live regularly, you will notice that a lot of the remotes need to have their backings taped, or like there's a part completely broken off. You'll also notice with pens and pencils that the The little thing on like the back of a pen, for instance, it's kind of like a little arm on it, so you can hook it onto pieces of onto clothing and stuff. That will be broken off on a lot of my pins, and that's because that is the victim of my nervous tick. Like, I will flick that back and forth. I notice I'm not talking about what's going on the screen at all. Bear with me. We're just cleaning up some mutons here. There's not a whole lot going on. But we're hitting them pretty good, so, you know, that's nice. Get a nice disabling shot there on one of them because, again, I'm trying to put the kills on the people who need them. But going back to the whole nervous tick thing, yeah, that's why you will see pins with broken... what is that called? Let me know in the comments what that thing is called. The little arm on the back of the pin to like slide it onto a pocket protector or an article of clothing or like a notebook or whatever the fuck. Because I feel really stupid just calling it it's the arm on the back. It's just the thing. Anyway, if you could let me know what that is in the comments, I'd appreciate it. So, we're setting ourselves up on these mutons. I think I might have missed the killing of the berserker. I'm sure it happened because... Oh wait, no, the berserker is actually off to the side. If you're looking at the screen right now and you assume that the top of the screen is north, then the berserker would be going southwest right now, I believe. Again, I was kind of off on my own tangent, so it's entirely possible I just missed when we chunked him. But my memory of the mission from yesterday, because that's when I originally started this recording, my memory of the mission from yesterday is that berserker kind of ran off to the side, and then we dealt with the mutons. Yeah, see, there he is. We just found him. And Heather takes care of the muton. And then we got the berserker over there, and he's going to run up on Heather, land a nice little blow on her right here. Just takes it like a champ, as I expect my assaults to do. And then it just kind of goes right back to taking shots at him. Pretty good hit there by Grayson, which draws the berserker off, because every time you hit a berserker, it will run towards somebody, which is so exploitable if you set up Overwatch traps and then make him move, or you have an assault with Close Combat Specialist. Which, what Close Combat Specialist does is, if you haven't figured it out by now, anytime an assault with Close Combat, because it's an assault ability, anytime a hostile creature, a hostile enemy, moves anywhere within 4 tiles of of an assault with the Close Combat Specialist ability, the assault takes a free reaction shot. Considering the close range of shotguns, and that most of the time anything moving, and considering that it is such a close trigger for this, it's basically a guaranteed hit. A guaranteed extra hit on something with a fairly powerful weapon in the shotgun, even the traditional munition shotgun. I mean, she's using an alloy cannon, which is just chunk city. So you can imagine how devastating that is when you use it right. Most of the time I don't use it by choice, or I don't use it on purpose, is probably a better way to put that. And of course now we have some elite mutons, so that's nice. Hi. How you doing? But most of the time I don't use Close Combat Specialist by choice, just because I never think about it, which is kind of a problem for me, as I'm sure you'll find out. But that's pretty much one of the best assault abilities. I try to grab it whenever I can. I don't know what the other ability at that level is. I think it's I think it's the one Sean has. Because he has this ability where if he shoots at someone and he's within a certain range of them, then his shot does not count as an action. So he can essentially shoot twice. Which can be very helpful, but I believe that that is either the trade-off for Close Combat Specialist, or it's the trade-off for Lightning Reflexes. Both of which I think I actually prefer to that other ability, because Close Combat Specialist, you don't really have to worry about getting close to them, because whether they are close to you and moving away from you, or coming up to you, Close Combat Specialist triggers, as far as I know. Whereas with the other one, you have to get up and you have to get basically up in people's faces. So you have to be super aggressive and you have to run up on them, which isn't always a good idea, especially with some of the heavier hitters that we're running into now. Things like elite mutons that basically the assault can't chunk in one shot, which is the reason you run up on stuff, to chunk it. You chunk it in one shot, or running up on it isn't a good idea. And there's the Electropulse. Of course, I can't use it at the moment because it hits friendlies and Heather's close to it. There's a triggered reaction shot, which chunks some decent health off of Fran. But it does allow me to get up close and use the Electropulse. Bzzz. Okay, I'm checking out the flamethrower first, but I do end up using the Electropulse because I only hit one target with the flamethrower. I hit two with the Electropulse. I was kind of underwhelmed by this ability initially. However, the main advantage of Electropulse is that you can use it as much as you want. It has a cooldown. It doesn't have limited ammunition like the flamethrower does. I would still say that it's probably not better than the Proximity Mine Launcher, except in one particular case, which you will see in the second part of the video, why the Electropulse is so useful. You can probably tell if you've been reading what it does, which, if you haven't had the chance, it does 5 damage to anyone in the radius, and if it's a robotic enemy that it hits, it stuns that target for 1 round. You can understand what specific situations that might be useful for. At any rate, we have one other guy to take down. Heather hits with a 46% shot, which is pretty good. And this is the point where I decide I'm not going to explore the whole ship. I'm just going to keep going. Mostly because I want that meld. And at this point, the meld is still active. I just don't know where it is. So I gotta go looking for it. So that's what I do. Yep, you can see right there, it's over in that direction somewhere, which is the same direction that the commanding place, I don't know, the bridge, I guess, of the battleship was last time. Basically where the 2 sectoid commanders were. So we are going to start moving in that direction. And of course last time there was a sectopod here and it killed Jesse. So we're lucky in that regard that we haven't run into that yet. It shows up later, but so far we're okay. And yeah, I'm just kind of looking at how to get everybody over now, and we're gonna turn Sterling into the Flight of the Valkyries here. Because I'm basically trying to get him over on those platforms here, like the one with the fire on it. Because that's a pretty good sniper nest. And the armor that I'm using, the Archangel armor, the Titan armor, and I believe the Ghost armor as well, is immune to poison and fire. So I can pretty much ignore environmental hazards. With some small exceptions. I can't ignore explosions. I have to be wary of explosions. A bit of a funny story, the first time I played through XCOM Enemy Unknown, which I ended up having to restart that particular playthrough, and then the second time through I wouldn't say I aced it. I wasn't doing as well in that mission as I am in this one. But I managed to complete it, and it was a successful completion. Many of you appeared in that, of course. But the very, very first time when I played through, in the first mission, I used a grenade to take out a sectoid because I didn't know about the destructible environments. And after I'd used the grenade, the sectoid happened to be taking cover behind a forklift, and I dropped a grenade on him, took him out. And I didn't know about the destructible environments, so what I did was I moved up the character named after me to use the forklift as cover. And then, much to my surprise, befuddlement, and dismay, the forklift exploded, doing a good 6 damage to my character and ending his life. That was an important lesson. A very important lesson. Lesson being, don't stand near shit that can blow up. Ever. So after that, I don't think I've had any problems with people dying because of explosions. Well, I say that, but it actually happens in this mission, so bit of a spoiler there, but I don't want to come off as a liar later on because I can only do the commentary for this part right now. The commentary for the second part's already in the can. So if I like spout some bullshit, then I don't have any way to correct myself in the second part. So you can have that to look forward to, I guess. I believe we finished this part up pretty soon. This is the last real encounter that we have in this part of the mission, and I'm gonna pretty much just cut this right down the middle. Well, not quite down the middle, because I don't believe the parts are equal size, but I'm gonna cut this at the end of this video when my recording got kind of wonky on me, and then I'm gonna start it off with, and that would be the recording yesterday, is the one that got wonky on me, and then I'm gonna link this up with the recording from yesterday. So pretty soon here, in about, I don't know, 6 minutes or so, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, put in a cut, and you will see the recording from tonight. But as you can see, we're mowing down these guys pretty easily. We didn't run into a whole lot of trouble in the first part, so I'm not talking too over much about it. Also because, well, that ship's kind of sailed, hasn't it? I actually did have audio for the first part, but when the game crashed on me, I figured that I was going to have to start the whole mission over again, so I didn't think to save the audio file, not realizing that it was just going to start me at the next turn. Because whenever I play a mission, I play it straight through. I've never really had to stop, so this is my first experience with having to start a mission, having to resume a mission that was in progress. At least my first in a long time. I think it's probably happened to me before, maybe in Enemy Unknown, but if it did happen, it happened long enough ago that I no longer remembered it. So that's what happened to the audio for the first one, because I had it recorded, and I'm sure it would have worked just fine, but I didn't save it, because I didn't think it would be of any use. I figured I would have to start the whole video over again. Turns out that was not necessary. So that's why you're getting this. And yeah, it's not really following what's going on in the mission, but what can you do, right? I figure if nothing else, this is my chance to give you guys some insight about how the XCOM videos have been going. And just sort of explaining some things about the process of putting them together. So, we're pretty much just setting up here to breach these doors. Not a whole lot going on. Now, one interesting thing here is that we're probably coming up on the end of this pretty quickly. Really, my intention is to get the last round of psionic testing done and see if I have any more psionic sensitives. And then once that's done, then I'm just going to go ahead and go forward. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on at this point, is just for the psionic testing to be done. There's about 4 days left on it at this point, I think, so we're pretty close. But we are still waiting on it a little bit, so we will see how that goes. And one other thing that I just realized is the audio is probably not going to be as crisp in this part of the video as it is usually, because what I normally do is I have a program called Audacity, which has a noise removal feature, and I use that to remove the hiss that shows up normally when I'm using my mic because I have the volume turned up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use that or not here. If I'm not and it does sound really hissy, then I apologize. I wish there was something more that I could kind of do about it, but my hands are unfortunately kind of tied just because of how the recording's gone, and I figure you guys would rather see a video than the second half of a video and you have no idea what happened in the first half. Even though admittedly a lot more of the action does tend to happen in this second part that's coming up here, but hopefully that won't be too much of a problem, and again, if it is, I apologize. You shouldn't have this problem again because my lesson has pretty much been learned. Whenever you record audio, save it. So I shouldn't have this problem again, and I apologize that it came up in the first place. Anyway, we're coming up on the end of it here, so I just want to say thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I am just kind of mulling over what I'm going to be doing next because the XCOM videos are not long for this world, and I just recently wrapped up the Shovel Knight series if you've not been watching it. So I'm going to need to introduce some new videos. I have a few ideas. I'm thinking about making a video to specifically discuss those and get some opinions, although I do have to admit there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of feedback on that score. I haven't heard a whole lot about what people want to see, which, to be completely honest, is a little disappointing, but you know, people are busy, so I understand. It's not something that I really worry about. I mean, worst comes to worst, I'll just decide myself what's going to be next. So that's what's coming, but we're coming up on the end of this here now, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the narration now, and I will see you again in part 2, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Silence, because I stopped. Okay, bye.